I am back today working with another color of the Kuretake Granulating Color set. Today I am trying something out with the Aurora red. And as you can see, it is not only red, but it has this beautiful turquoise undercolor to it, which I am very excited to see what it will do. Now, you saw me wetting both sides of my paper, and I like to do that because that way it prevents the paper from curling up on me as I am working on it. But it also helps the colors not drying out as fast. Now, sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes, as you can see a little bit later on, it's a little bit of a curse because I do want them to dry at some point, and I don't like to take a heating element to it. I just like to let them dry by themselves. And when there's a lot of water on the paper, that sometimes can be a little bit of a pain. As I'm working, I am adding more color if I feel like there needs to be a little bit more. And when I added this dot, it was a little bit more concentrated than before, and so I had a little bit of a harder time getting that color to move around. And eventually I gave up and just took a brush to it and diluted it a little bit, because sometimes I like to have saturated colors in a certain spot, and other times I don't want that to happen. And it appears that today I did not want that to happen, so it had to go. But you can see now that it is a little bit more diluted, and whatever is left on the page I can definitely work with. Once I'm happy with the amount of pigment that is on my paper, I then let it dry just a little bit. Last time, if you remember, I let it sit for too long, and then I wasn't able to move my colors around much anymore, and I had to dilute it a little bit. So I was very conscious of that issue this time around, and this is the second time now that I let it sit and just move the colors around a little bit. In the end, I was happy with how it worked, and then I propped it up a little bit on one side so that it would pool a little bit more in the middle, and this is what it ended up drying as. Look at this granulation. Isn't it just gorgeous? And I know the camera does not do the original justice. There is so many layers and so many undertones to it. When you look at it in natural light, it's just beautiful. So I went ahead and dipped my brush into a little bit more of that color, and then I also decided to mix in the gold into the color this time, instead of just doing the gold by itself. The reason why I wanted to do that is because I wanted to see how it dries. I wanted to see if it would give me kind of an aura of that color underneath around the gold, and that is just what happened. So I was very excited that it came out the way it did. So I'm adding a few more splatters to it because I just never know what I am going to use. I like an array of smaller and bigger dots to work with once I start doodling. And this is how it dried. Look at how cool that looks. I ended up covering most of it though, so I don't know if it was worth it, but again, I don't know what I'm gonna end up doing when I do these things ahead of time, so I could have maybe made a little bit more use of it, but I know now that it works, and I will probably do it again in the future. As I always say, the first few lines are the hardest, and I just never know what comes out of my lines, and so I just start dividing the page per se and see where it takes me. Of course, I know that I want to incorporate these splatters somehow, and so I did. And I didn't really like the way it looked in the beginning, but it is one of those times where I have faith in the process. Doesn't happen all the time, but today I had faith in the process, and I also just really loved the background colors, and so I didn't want to give up on it. So I left those two outlines up top for a little while and continued on with something else. And I do that quite a lot when I get stuck on a doodle and I don't know how to proceed. And so I just ended up focusing on different parts of the page. I had so many of those dots that I was a little worried I was going to overdo it. And so I tried to figure out how can I incorporate them without it feeling like it's getting too much. And so I resorted to those kind of flower heads that I have done in the past. This is a doodle that I like to bring out every now and then, especially when I'm a little unsure of how it's going to end up looking. All right, let's see if I can keep working on this blockage here. I decided that more lines would be the answer. So I added those, and I knew that I wanted to add these thinner lines inside of these two circles. So I went ahead and did that because that was something that I knew I wanted. And then I looked at it again, and I once again lost faith and moved on to something else. And sometimes when that happens, I resort to doodles that feel comfortable and I know I can do, and so I bring out some old faithful ones. When I get really stumped, then I walk away and I do something else. That has happened as well, but there was quite a bit that I knew I could do in this page, so I just continued with that. I find that I only walk away when I'm really, really lost and I'm on the verge of giving up, or when I get interrupted. But usually I tend to stick with a painting until I can feel like I have done the most that I can do, and I feel like it's almost done when I have the main components down. Sometimes it's a little bit of a curse when you walk away. Other times it can be super beneficial. So I do encourage to take breaks and, just give your brain something else to look at for a while, and then come back and you can see it with a pair of fresh eyes and continue with what seemed impossible before. These little stick figures are so funny. It almost looks like each one has its own little personality, doesn't it? I had a lot of dots on this page, and so sometimes a lot of that is going on, trying to figure out what to turn them into. I want to have some variety. I don't want to turn all of them into the same thing, but when you have that many, it can sometimes get a little overwhelming. Not that I have to use every single dot that there is, but I kind of felt like these gold dots were there for a reason, and so I felt like I had to do something with them. I'm also really into these cobblestones lately, can you tell? They have shown up quite a lot lately, and I am not mad about it. I like them. Also, we don't know where these little dudes are going, so they need a road to walk on, right? I filled up that whole bottom area and I just decided to cut out most of that footage because you don't need to sit here and watch me draw these stones one by one. On average, I get about an hour and a half to 2 hours worth of footage that I then have to condense down to a more manageable video. And so sometimes it's easy to cut a few things out because I'm just sitting there twirling my pens, or the pen is not working and I have to switch it and stuff like that. Other times I can speed it up, which most of this is sped up so that it makes it a little bit more manageable. But other times it's really hard to try and figure out what do I cut out and what do I leave in. And I've said this a lot before. I want to leave in as much as possible, but when strokes or marks just get repetitive, it makes more sense for me to cut some of it out. This duo of flowers needed a companion, and so I just created another one. There was no dot there, shocker, I know, but I just decided it needed another flower there. I like things that come in uneven numbers. I started to feel like it was necessary to incorporate those two circles a little bit more into the bottom section of the piece, and so I just added more lines, and yeah, it looks like a creature holding something in its lap now. I don't know, guys. Not everything I do makes sense. So I kind of like it. It looks very creepy a little bit, but I am here for it. By the way, I have another background with those exact same colors that I'm working on, and I am planning on releasing that just for my members. So if you want to see that and you are not a member yet, you can sign up. There is a join button, or I have a link in the description box below the video where you can click on, and that will take you to signing up. It is 99 cents a month, and usually when I have a video done early, I will release it to my members first. That doesn't always happen. Unfortunately, sometimes I am just a little bit pressed on time and I release it straight away after I edit it on that Friday. But the last couple of times I was able to release that a little bit early. But because it's been I think over a month now, and I have 25 members at the moment, Hello, guys. Thank you for supporting me. I decided that I would create a special video just for them. So, unfortunately, unless you are signed up for that, you won't be able to see it. But it is going to be those exact same colors looking completely different. So I hope all of those members enjoy this very special video just for you, because I appreciate you. I have moved on to shading, and there's not a lot of shading that I'm gonna do. I kind of don't have a lot of empty spots in this piece. There's a lot of concentrated color everywhere, and so I wanted to leave most of that white or that light blue untouched. But I did get around to shade just a little bit of it and have the background a little bit more divided and not so one-dimensional. And because the acrylic paint worked so well last time, I figured I would do it again here and just outline these a little bit more and then give them a little bit of a halo because they're cute and they need to stand out. So I really enjoy how this works, and obviously I didn't do the best of jobs, and so I have to go back in and redefine some of those black lines again with my pen. But now they're getting their little yellow glow, and oh, they're just so adorable. This piece was a lot of fun to make. I looked at it for quite a while before I started, and it took me a little while to get started, but once I kind of had an inkling of where it was going, it was a lot of fun creating. So I hope you enjoyed this video today. I'm gonna leave you here with the rest of this video where you can just watch with a little bit of music. Let me know what you think. I am always curious as to what you guys have to say about it, and let me know if you have tried this before. Have you tried these colors before? Are you happy with them? I know it's taken people a little bit of time getting used to them, but I hope that these videos will help you see how they perform, hopefully in a way that you haven't seen yet. So that is it for me today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And members, please don't forget to check out your very own special video that I hopefully will have uploaded by this weekend.